But do we even understand obesity, Dr. Joshi, in India? Or so recently, UNICEF did a survey and said that for the first time in the history of the world and humankind, there are more obese people or obese children, in fact, compared to those who are malnourished.
So no, I think that's a great cog. I think what we need to recognize is that we are thin fat Indians. Compared to other, they can be as thin as me, but we store more fat. Because ancestrally, for generations, we used to have famines. And we were a fasting and a feasting country, and we used to have famines. So we developed something called as a thrifty genotype, and we started keeping that fat in our stomach so that we could use it during the time of a famine. And most Bhartiyas were, or Indians were, fundamentally agrarians. They were physically active, and chairs were, only for the kings and the queens and the thrones and the affluent people.
Sit on the floor, even something like a sitting.
And do a lot of physical activity. Now, this thin fat Indians is actually called ABCD. ABCD means adiposity-based chronic disease, which means we have extra fat cells in our body compared to, say, Winslow from African American lineage will have less fat, and somebody who's a Caucasian will have less fat in their body composition for the same BMI. And therefore, even if your BMI is normal, we store more fat. And therefore, we do waist to height ratio, waist to hip ratio, and this thin fat...
the body fat percentage, your hip to waist ratio.
Or the waist to height ratio.
Yeah.
And just, even if you look at BMI, of course, if it's about 27, -2 every time. That's the way we put out a guidelines way back in 2007. And I think as Indians, because we have become affluent in the last 2-3 decades and become very sedentary, we have become digitally intoxicated, and our sleep time has come down. These all lifestyle factors with pollution adding to the cog actually has propelled extra deposition of fat in our human body. And that fat at wrong sites like the liver, the heart, is deleterious to health. In the heart it is called as EAT. EAT means epicardial adipose tissue. In the liver it is called as MASH, which is the metabolically associated steatohepatitis, because they don't like to use the word fat.